Hello and welcome to this new episode of Open Book Entrepreneur. We have Barry Walton all the way from Florida, US, here with us today. He's a business owner. And Barry, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Tony, I'm super excited to be here. I'm excited to be with your audience. I love connecting with people over in Europe. I'm currently in Florida, and I have been in business for about 7 years. I've been working in media and marketing for 25 years, and I currently own a business where I help, major brands and small companies tell their stories to audiences and reach their clients and customers, and it's been a fun, exciting ride, and I'm super excited to be here and share a little bit about that.
Excellent. So, can you please tell us, Barry, what actually inspired you to get into this line of business?
Well, I mean, I started working in media and marketing actually when I was in my early 20s, and probably what inspired me was I moved to Hollywood, and I was living in Hollywood, and I was trying to be an actor, but in the process I was working as a production assistant on sets and films, and I started working on commercial sets. And I started kind of being around the commercial world, and it was exciting. Yeah, I know that you mentioned your work in tennis. I shot on a set with Brooke Shields, and I got to meet Andre Agassi and Brooke Shields at that time. This is in 1999, but
Wow.
they were a couple. They were dating, and
Mhm.
I got to meet Andre Agassi, and I got to be part of that. I got to meet Jennifer Lopez. I got to meet Will Smith. The list kind of goes on because I was all in this circle, and so I did this work for about 5 years. I loved that it was exciting, but there was also more that I wanted to achieve. So I went on from there to other forms of work in media, and then about I think it's been 10 years ago now. I started working at an agency where I was doing commercials for Jeep, Ram, Dodge, the auto industry, and we were doing commercials out in Moab. We were four by fouring with Jeep and doing some like really exciting stuff. So really, I just found it to be a thrilling industry where you could really kind of, combine work with pleasure. It was a little bit of the both best of the both worlds. If and when you could do it, it's not always beautiful. It's not always perfect, but when it was good, it was really good. And so that's kind of what drew me in, brought me into this field, and that's kind of what inspired me to kind of follow this career path.
It's really funny because my previous car was Jeep, so maybe I bought it because I watched your commercial. So
Now I got a Jeep. I love Jeep.
yeah,
Jeep
they
is
they have
Jeep's my
good
favorite.
space. Yeah, good space, definitely. Not so good on the fuel, especially here in Europe. It's super expensive, But to
Yeah, the fuel
to
fuel economy is bad. They're getting better,
Mhm.
but there's nothing like a Jeep. I'm with you. I love a good Jeep.
I love it as well. Space it was fantastic in this car. Okay, so anyway, and then like, so what's happening right now with your business? What are you involved in at the moment? Like, can you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, so the last 7 years, I've been working with companies to tell stories across the board, okay, across the board. So on the high end, on the exciting end, I've worked with professional athletes, and I've worked with brands like Milk, and I also have kind of extended on my own as a director for Jeep and other clients like that, where I've gotten to work with pro athletes, and it's I would call it upper funnel content. Upper funnel content, when you think of your sales funnel, because I'm talking to a lot of business owners out there. When you think of your sales funnel, upper funnel content is that initial content that inspires and grabs people's interest and wants them to kind of engage with the brand, right? So I've spent a lot of my time doing work on upper funnel content, but I've also spent a lot of my over the last 7 years. When you build a production company, there are a select few people who can survive off of like the highest level of upper funnel content and commercials and stuff. And those are really big budgets, but they don't come often. You might get one a year, you might get two or three a year. So you have to build, you have to structure your business when you're doing production. You have to build multiple levels to it, and I'm sure that many of your business owners can appreciate this on their own levels. You usually have your bread and butter, which is kind of the part of your business that is consistent and and brings in revenue on a consistent basis. And then you have your kind of upper stuff that peaks and is fun and exciting and brings in money but doesn't happen often. And then you have kind of that lower level stuff that you maybe hold on to because it's security, but you're not in love with it. So, for me in that middle space, I've been working with brands on product reviews, help content, helping them tell their story in very basic terms, update their clients on what's going on internally, and kind of engage with their consumers, because we live in this age where we no longer get to live behind the wall of a brand's identity with a few great commercials. Consumers now build relationships with brands, literally. I mean, and I don't know, and we could get into a conversation on if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm not here to kind of debate that. But because of that, my industry has exploded where companies are in a constant need for content, and they're in a constant need to tell their story, especially in America. I'm sure as well in Europe at some level. So in the last 7 years, I've been working on those other layers of just helping companies understand the stories that they need to tell, understand what's important. And understand who they are as a company and how they connect. The biggest thing that I work on with companies is helping them be honest with their consumers. I don't work with companies that aren't honest with their consumers. If they want to hide behind kind of we're selling this, but we don't really believe in what we're doing, I'm not interested. So I help companies who are they have purpose and meaning, and they're doing the work. What right now I'm working with a client that's helping revolutionize cancer research. And I think that this company will end up changing the entire face of cancer research. That's a company that's contributing to the betterment of society as a whole. They're making human lives better. That's easy for me to help tell that story. I can be honest about it. I can be honest with their consumer. There's purpose in it. There's value in it. I kind of ran through a bunch there. A little bit of that is the outline of my company, which is how the content that I create, and kind of a little bit about the funnel structure, but also about the values that we are as a company. Like, we like to work with brands that care about what they do and care about the people that they're selling it to. And that's really that's the crux of kind of what I've been doing over the last 7 years of building my company. Almost eight. It'll be eight here shortly.
Wonderful. And then also in terms of the challenges, like how are you dealing with challenges in your business?
Some of the biggest challenges as a business owner, and I'm sure whoever's listening out there, if they've started a business, they've run into challenges, because the entire process from funding to product development to release of your product to promoting your product to retention to managing your budgets and your accounts to personnel. I think that people who start businesses have to be a little bit crazy.
A
But
little bit.
no, they're a little bit crazy. They're a little bit crazy because there's no time off, and you're building this whole thing, and you're trying to manage money, and you're always worried if you're going to go bankrupt or if it's going to work out, and you have to live by faith. The value that you get is you have a lot of freedom. You're kind of managing your own self. But those are the biggest challenges. I definitely, even most recently, like, I lost what we call them a whale in the US, and a whale is,
Well, yeah, yeah, a
yeah, a
big,
whale.
big business.
Yeah, a very big company. I lost a whale that I had been with for about 5 years, back at the end of 2023. And I've spent the last 18 months trying to fill that space. I lost 50% or more of my annual revenue, and we've been scrambling to how to get through. And the biggest thing that I've learned was from that experience was the survival of a business sometimes depends on your ability to let go of things, to scale things down. You have to let go of personnel. You have to release people. You have to reduce your costs. You have to manage every line item in your budget. You have to make sure that every cost that you're spending is essential. And you have to have a conviction that I'm not giving up and we're going to get through this. You have to have a sense that we're going to make it through this. You have to be optimistic and you have to believe that you can do it. And in fact, I even listen to positive speakers, the most famous being Tony Robbins, but there's a lot out there. When they talk about business on YouTube in the morning, I'll wake up and listen to 7 good habits or 11 things that you should say to yourself to help yourself build your mentality and build your strength to get through hard times. Every business is going to have them. So, I think, yeah, so that's kind of a response to the struggle piece, and my thoughts around that.
Exactly. And if someone wants to actually get in touch with you, learn a little bit more about you, or connect to you, how they can do that?
You can find us online, Endless Media me.com. Endless, Endless media, media.com. And that has everything. I'm also a director. I've done many documentary films. I recently published a book called The Unknown Adventurer, which is about my travels and my work before I started my company as a director of documentary films. I traveled to the Himalayas. I lived in Italy for 3 years. I've done quite a bit of traveling and adventure in my life, and so there's a lot there, as well as my work in my business and my business profile as well. So if they want to find me, they can definitely look me up there.
Wonderful. And just before we go, if there is any question I didn't ask you, anything you would like to share with our audience, any wisdom, any suggestion, any tip, here's the time.
Well, Tony, I have to tell you, I'm honored to be here. This is super cool. I'm honored to be connecting with people in Europe, and I know that in Europe things are structured differently with regards to taxes, with regards to business structure, with regards to the challenges to either get started or get off the ground or build capital. But I think that wherever you are, the life of an entrepreneur, it's one of the best lives that you can possibly live. And so if there's anyone out there that are thinking about taking on a business, they're thinking about doing something that they love, you can do it. Take the first steps, build a mentality of being optimistic, realize that failure is not the end. Failure is usually the beginning. And if you can understand those 3 simple things, you can do it. Build optimism. Failure is not the end. You are on your way with a high likelihood of making it.
Totally. Barry, thank you so much for these words of wisdom. Thank you for being a guest. Thank you all for watching and listening to this episode. If you liked it, drop us a like, subscribe, and also share it with your friends and family. And we'll see you all in the next episode. All the best and bye bye.
Thank you, Tony.